Hi everyone, and welcome back. So we're going to take a look at the second part of our properties of real numbers. And what we're going to do is we're going to list the following numbers in order from least to greatest, as well as to classify the type of number that they are. Keep in mind that we have a few choices. We have natural numbers, which are our counting numbers. We have our whole numbers, which are the natural numbers including 0. We have integers, which are positive and negative natural numbers including 0. And then we have our rational numbers, which is any number that can be classified as a fraction, including everything above it, integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers. And then we also have irrational numbers, which are all the numbers that do not end and have no pattern to them. So going through this list, we have the first number as negative 0.75. Now that's definitely not a natural, whole, or integer number. So we have to ask ourselves, could it be rational? Could you write 0.75 as a fraction? And we sure can by writing it as 3/4. So this is going to be a rational number. The next number that we have is -9. So it can't be natural because it's not positive. It can't be a whole number because it's not a positive number nor 0. Is it an integer? So it does look like it's a whole number but negative. So this is going to be an integer. It is a negative natural whole number. The next value that we have is already written as a fraction for us, which means it must be a rational value. The next one that we have is the square root of 8. Now keep in mind that typically square rooted numbers are automatically 99% of the time irrational. You want to take a look at the value underneath the root. If it is not a perfect square, in other words, it's not a number that you can take the square root of easily, you can consider it to be automatically irrational. And this is not a perfect square, so we are going to classify this as irrational. The next value that we have is 2. Now this could actually fit into a couple of these different categories. It is a counting number, so it's natural. It is a whole number, since whole numbers include natural numbers and 0. And it's also considered to be an integer. So that has actually 3 different classifications. Now, the number 0, we know that 0 is included in whole numbers, so we can say that it's a whole number. But integers also include 0, so we're going to say that it is also an integer. Now, we want to place these numbers in order from least to greatest. And if you recall from the previous video, anytime you are in a number line, the farther to the left that you go, the smaller it is. And the farther to the right that you go, the bigger it is. So it looks like we're going to need to put some values in here. Okay, so built a small number line there for us. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. We have negative 0.5, negative 3/4. Now that is not bigger than 1, so it must be contained somewhere between -1 and 0. And 3/4 in general, if you think about it without being negative, it is going to be closer to the whole number 1 because it's greater than 1/2. So we're going to put negative 0.75 right in here between 0 and -1, but closer to -1. The next one we have is -9, which is fairly easy to place. I just need to count -9 places from 0 in the left-hand direction, which is 1 smaller than -10. The next one that I have is 2/5. Now, this is definitely not bigger than 1 because the numerator is smaller than the denominator, which is called a proper fraction. And if we were to count between 0 and 1, 5 different places, and go 2 of them, because this is what the numerator is telling you, it's 2 of 5 spaces, it's going to be closer to 0. It's not going to be quite half. So when we put this in here, we want it to be a little bit closer to 0. And the next one that we have is the square root of 8. Now keep in mind from the previous video as well that we want to think of our perfect squares that surround this guy so we know what he's between. So I know that to the left of him we have the square root of 9, which is 3. And to the left of 8, let me think here, the next perfect square would have, it's not 7, 6, 5, 4. It's going to be the square root of 4 because that is equal to 2. That's a nice perfect square. So the square root of 8 is somewhere between 2 and 3. And if you're not really quite sure where, think of which of these that it is closer to. Is 8 closer to 4 or is 8 closer to 9? And it's closer to 9, so it's going to be closer to 3. So let me count down here. So there's 1, 2, 3. All right, so this guy is going to go in between 2 and 3, but closer to 3. The next value that we have is also a straightforward number. It's 2. So I'm going to count 2 spaces from 0. We're right there. And then the next one, the easiest one of all, is 0. He is right there in the middle. So once you know where these numbers line a number line, it becomes very simple to order them in order from least to greatest. Least to greatest means from the left to the right. So we would say that our order is -9 because that's first. And then as I follow my number line, the next one that I'm going to have is -3/4. My pen is not working very well. After that, we're going to have 0. After that, we're going to have 2/5. And then we're going to have 2. And then we will have square root of 8. And I just want to double check to see if I have all my values in here. I should have 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there we go. There's our order from least to greatest. Thanks for watching.